Do I look like a booty builder? I know what you're thinking. That looks like a familiar gym. And you'd be right, because we're back at Pure Gym, somewhere that I complain about often, but quite frankly, it's a great place to film because I can get in at any time of the night and it's nearly midnight. Today, what we're gonna do, a bit of a different one. I say that every video, it's never actually different. We're gonna go through 5 common gym mistakes that you're making. I'm gonna show you what you're doing wrong. I'm gonna show you what to do right. I'm gonna tell you why you need to do them right and basically debunk any misinformation surrounding the reason you're doing them wrong. That was a mouthful. So we've listed 5 common gym mockeries and we're gonna basically correct them and you're gonna learn something from this video, and when you do learn something, you're going to subscribe, because first big mistake you're going to see when you go to a gym, and you're probably doing this yourself, is when somebody is doing a squat pattern like a barbell squat, as you'll see here. How many times you see someone squat like this, where they get halfway down and they go, whoa, that was a bloody cracking set, then they rack it back in. You got up to them, you say, why are you doing that? Why are you only squatting halfway? They say, oh, it's bad for your knees if you go any lower. Stop it. That's what some silly PT once told you back in 1066 during the Battle of Hastings. No, it's not bad for your knees. That's misinformation, and we don't like promoting that on this channel. So I'm actually gonna show you what you should do and tell you why you should do it. What we're gonna try and do is maximize knee flexion. We do that by going as low as possible while driving the knees as far forward as possible. Do we go down? Bum, 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 bum. Oh look, we keep going. Look at that depth. Incredible. Bang. Wow. Solid. What you can also do is if you elevate the heels, it allows you to further drive the knees forward and actually encourage more knee flexion, and can also compensate for any ankle mobility deficits you may have. So the premise of squats being bad for your knees also stems from the idea of that your knees shouldn't travel over your toes when you squat. Both of those things are wrong. Firstly, if your knees can go through that range of motion, why shouldn't you go through that range of motion? Secondly, if squatting to depth was bad for your knees, I should be decrepit, but I'm not, because it's not bad for your knees. Quite frankly, the whole idea of it being bad for your knees was probably promoted by people who like to ego lift and will justify them not squatting to depth so they can lift more weight. Because when your range of motion is shorter and reduced, you will probably lift more weight. No one cares how much you squat. No one cares how much you half squat. If you have an injury or a mobility limitation, absolutely go as low as you can go. Shout out Joel Seaman. Funnily enough, Joel Seaman actually followed me on Instagram until I did a video calling him out, then he unfollowed me. Seems like someone's butt hurt. He loves promoting that you shouldn't go below 90 degrees. From a power output perspective, when looking at like jumping and that kind of athleticism, I do kind of understand it, because when you're doing a jump, how often do you go ass to grass? You don't usually go down to about 45 degrees with a boom, boom. So I get it, sport specific. But should everyone just squat to 90 degrees because Joel Seaman with a massive following said so? No, quite frankly, he's a knob. Another thing you often see when at any kind of gym, and you may be doing this too, so when people leg press, especially the dudes who are loading up more than they can handle, hands always here. Oh, not only are they not going to depth, oh, let's get that. Oh, so tough, must use my hands to help. Let's riddle a couple of things here. Firstly, it's a leg press. Why are you doing a tricep extension? This, when you're pushing with all your force, your triceps are doing that, you're just taking emphasis away from your legs. Imagine doing upper body on a lower body movement, wild. Secondly, when you are doing a leg press and trying to go deep and trying to go heavy, your hands should not be here. You should be gripping on to the handles and pulling yourself in. You're not doing so. What happens is my bum starts lifting, as you'll see here, my back's coming off, the amount of pressure going through my lower back, phenomenal. I feel like I'm gonna implode. You grip on, you hold, oh, look at the range of motion. Oh my God, incredible, incredible. Wow. Do I have a fair reason or justification as to why people might do this? No, you're cheating. It is cheating, and it's actually making the movement less effective for not only the intention, being leg development, but also it's less safe because your lower back is going to be shifty off the pad, put you in a compromised position, and when you're going to come to me after and say, oh, my lower back really hurts, it's absolutely right. Behave yourself. Basically, my clothes will come off and I need to remind people that I lift, because I get many comments like, you don't even go to the gym, you don't know what you're talking about. I know, stop reminding me, okay? The bench press. I'm gonna show you what I often see when I go to the gym, and it hurts me every time. Let me put my phone in my shoe for safekeeping. I go to the gym and many times I see this happen. Lift it off, very good. Bah. Bah. I would say the question is why. I already know the answer. Like with the squat pattern, people say, oh, don't touch your chest on bench press. It's bad for your shoulders. Firstly, no, it's not. That is a really poor excuse people use so they can load up more weight, ego lift, and when they're asked by the people at the gym, oh, how much do you bench press? They can claim they lift 20 or 40 kilos more than they actually do, because they don't actually complete the lift. Bench pressing to your chest is not bad for your shoulders. Again, this is very much dependent on your mobility and ROM limitations, so range of motion, but realistically, healthy individuals should be able to go through a full range of motion where they do touch their chest when bench pressing, especially if you've nailed the correct technique. Loading up a load of weight and half rep it is only gonna hinder your ability to actually grow. Sure, you get really strong in that range of motion, which is fantastic, your chest is going to suffer, therefore growth is going to be limited. But also secondly, getting strong in that range of motion is fantastic, but what happens when you have a blip? You're really strong to here, but what happens when one time you go a little bit lower? By accident, a couple of inches lower, a few inches lower. You've developed no strength or not conditioned yourself to that range of motion, therefore you're actually putting yourself at quite a risk of injury. So, what we do is we lift properly. Touch your chest. So down, control, 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 making your chest nice, high and proud, boom. Boom. Are my shoulders compromised during that movement? Absolutely not. Am I going to lift slightly less weight? Absolutely, because the range of motion is greater. But is that going to yield a better stimulus for growth and also a safer stimulus too? Absolutely. Another big mistake and a big thing I see around the gym in general, which is probably one of the most important things, is going to be training intensity. You can do the best movements in the world and follow the best program in the world, but if you're not training to sufficient intensity, you're not going to see great results. So, for example, how many times you go to the gym when you're doing like a leg extension, for example, you're doing reps, oh, many sets, rah, 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 getting a sick pump. Then you get to the last one, slow down a little bit, oh, done, oh, the burning, unbearable, can't do anymore. If your last reps look like this, where there is still good speed and there's no dramatic slowing of the concentric portion, being this portion, the contracting part, you're not training hard enough. In reality, your last reps should slow quite dramatically to the point where you are really struggling and fighting to get to that lockout position and sometimes even failing. A couple of things I want to point. If you're doing 5 sets and not only in those 5 sets do your reps not change, so you do 5 sets of 10, by default, that indicates you're not accumulating much fatigue and you're quite frankly not training hard enough, because if you are training with sufficient intensity, you will probably lose reps set by set. If I do 5 sets of easy work, I'm going to be able to match reps. If I'm training really hard, I'm going to get fatigued, therefore my reps are going to decrease. If you're doing 5 sets of something for the sake of hypertrophy, probably doing junk volume. A couple of things to note there. Don't need to do 5 sets of an exercise. I rarely do more than 2 or 3. I never do more than 3. If you are not training hard enough, you are going to have to do more sets to actually accumulate adequate stimulus. So if I'm doing, let's say, leg extensions, sets of 10, and I have about 4 left in the tank, let's just, for argument's sake, say I get 1 effective rep per set. To get 5 effective reps, I'm going to have to do 5 sets. Or what I can do instead is 1 set to failure, accumulate 5 effective reps in that 1 set, get the same benefit and same stimulus from 1 set as I would have got from 5 sets. If you train hard enough, you can actually get the same result, if not better results, from doing less. So I look like a booty builder, as you've just seen me do there. The old standing abduction machine, a movement heavily popularized by the booty builders on the old Instagram machine. And quite frankly, why? Thing is, when we're doing an abduction movement, fine, absolutely. You want to do an abductor, cracking, boom, just like so. Hold on, abduct. Hold on, abduct. Fantastic. No issue at all there. Once you stand, not only do you reduce stability, which is ultimately going to hinder the effectiveness of the movement, you also start utilizing other muscles you probably don't want to. Quite frankly, if I do that movement to failure, what's going to fail are not going to be the muscles responsible for abduction, probably going to be my quads from holding that half squat position, which is not what I want to do. This is meant to be a movement to build my body, not a movement to build my legs. And it wouldn't actually build your legs effectively anyway, so it doesn't even achieve that anyway. In conclusion, throughout this video, I've highlighted many gym mistakes you either commonly see or potentially even are guilty of yourself. Hopefully, my brief understanding and also demonstration of what you should do is going to better guide you into creating more effective workouts and getting more bang for your buck when you do train. If you found this video useful, which hopefully you did, in 2 weeks' time, I'm doing another video in which I'm going to go through everything I wish I knew when I started training to, again, hopefully help correct any mistakes you might be making and also hopefully clear up any misconceptions that you may have. This will cover things like effective training, supplementation, nutrition, and all sorts. So keep an eye out for that. And if you are curious, link down below is tfnl coaching. We'd really appreciate it if you did have a little gander and explore. Other than that, until the next one, thank you for tolerating me. Thank you for tolerating my shocking attire, and thank you for tolerating the video.